Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail and new arrivals for you, new books to show you that don't have any rhyme or reason to them except that they're recently shown up here. And I feel like I've let that side of our little conversations here, our little parasocial relationship, I feel like I've let that wither, not looking at new books and talking about them. So I thought we'd do that. And, now that I think about it, I should do an electronic version of this as well. I should really start that. Maybe for October I should start that, where we don't just look at the ones that came in the mailbox. We look at electronic stuff as well. Or we could do a fun feature where I regularly run down the stuff that's on NetGalley and give you handicap what's worth your time and interest and what's not. But let's look at a pile of these things. Now, some of these, I think it's right on the top. Some of these were tribute. My friend Sam is a book critic. He came here to visit, and he brought up some books with him. So some of these I didn't get from the publisher myself, although many times when Sam has done that, when he's brought me this kind of playful tribute, the book then shows up on its own here. So this first one is tribute. This is coming out in March, and it is MUV, M-U-V. This is by Rachel Trethewey, and it is the story of the Mitford sisters' mother, hence the title. That is what they called her. The Mitford girls had nicknames for everybody. And MUV was what they called her. And this is going to be, as far as I know, the first biography of the mother of the Mitford sisters. Certainly the first one in the 21st century. So we will see. I don't know what there is to say. But, oh, right, and then this is the next one. I asked Sam, why did you pick this? He said, because it was really big, because he knows I love long books. This is long. This is going to be 700 pages. This is by Paul Gillingham, and it is A New History of Mexico. Gigantic thing that comes out in late November. So a huge thing. And what have we got here? Prize-winning historian Paul Gillingham. He begins his story in 1511 with the dramatic shipwreck of two Spanish sailors near the Yucatan Peninsula. 10 years later, Hernan Cortes led an army of European adventurers and indigenous rebels to seize the legendary island city of Tenochtitlan, the largest in the Americas and the center of Montezuma's empire. So we move all the way from there to Claudia Scheinbaum in the present day. So great big panoramic history coming out soon. Right, and then this one, Sam grabbed this one, and this is a finished copy. This comes out in October. Yeah, mid-October. This is Rachel Corbett, and this is The Monsters We Make. The subtitle is Murder, Obsession, and the Rise of Criminal Profiling, and it's about serial killers and family annihilators. This is the one of the three that Sam brought me that I have read. I gobbled it up. And it is very critical of the so-called science of developing criminal profiling. Very critical. The author points out over and over and over again how many times criminal profilers are dead wrong. And whether or not the attention and money that is given to them could be better spent elsewhere. And in the process, she writes about some criminals that were not actually, strictly speaking, subjects of my own research last year. The greatest overlap here by far, John Wayne Gacy comes up in this book, but the greatest overlap by far is Ted Bundy. But there are others too. She goes all the way back to Jack the Ripper. All the serial killer books just canonically go back to 1888. They go back to Jack the Ripper. I liked it a lot. Very passionately done. So I'll probably be reviewing it come November. Then we have something for January. This is by David Hone and Mark Whitten, and it is Spinosaur Tales, the biology and ecology of the spinosaurs. And I have read both these authors individually, and I love them. And I know already I'm going to like this. The giant sail-backed carnivorous dinosaur Spinosaurus is one of the most famous of all dinosaurs, a staple of documentaries, books, and video games, and the species that bested the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex in Jurassic Park. But what do we actually know about this crocodile-headed monster and its relatives, the Spinosaurs? Fine by me. I love dinosaur books, and I haven't got enough of them in 2024 or 2025. I haven't got enough dinosaur books, so the more the merrier. Then this next one, this one is from Reaction Books. It's lovely. I don't know how expensive it is. I bet its price is not listed on it. No, the price is not listed on it, and I did not get a pub sheet for this. Bet it's $50. This is by William Sheenan and Clifford Cunningham, and it is simply called The Solar System. And that's what it is. It's a beautifully illustrated history and natural history of Earth's solar system. So you get not only the archival stuff, but all the latest stuff as well. So an amazing, if you know an astronomy fan, especially a young astronomy fan, an amazing thing to get them. And relatively the size of a normal book, which these things usually aren't. Usually they're not something you can carry around with them. And this is. So I don't know when it comes out, and I don't know how expensive it's going to be, but it's a beautifully done thing. What else we got here? Oh, lots more. Okay. Okay, well, this next one is from Osprey Press. I think Osprey sent me a bunch of stuff. Good. I'm very happy that they're sending me a bunch of stuff. This is by Mark Edward Lender and James Kirby Martin, and it is called War Without Mercy, Liberty or Death in the American Revolution, which is right up Steve's alley. Let's see what we have here. It shatters the romanticized myths of America's founding war and confronts readers with its grimmest reality. The revolution was not just a fight for independence, it was a brutal existential conflict where restraint often vanished and violence knew no limits. Written by two of the field's most respected historians, this provocative and meticulously researched book exposes the dark underside of the War of Independence. Drawing from decades of scholarship, the authors reveal how patriots, loyalists, American Indians, and civilians waged a war that was far more personal and merciless than most accounts acknowledge. Fantastic. Oh wait, this has a slip in it. Okay, so when is this? Early October. This comes out, Tuesday. This comes out on Tuesday. I don't think it will have the sales that Shadow Ticket by Thomas Pynchon does on Tuesday, but it comes out on Tuesday. And if you're a Revolutionary fan guy, you're going to want this. Obviously you are. Then I believe the next two that Osprey sent are David Murphy books. Yeah, they are. They're David Murphy books. Okay, well, I might read one of them or two of them, but I will be handing this to him. Sending this to him, of course. The first one is by Lucy Betteridge Dyson. What? A woman? It's a World War II book written by a woman. It's called Jungle Commandos, The Battle for Arakan in Burma, 1945. Do you have a slip as well? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. This comes out on October 7th. So David will be late writing about it. Drawing on unpublished first-hand accounts, this is a gripping history of the experiences of the commandos and their unsung allies in one of the bloodiest battles of the Burma campaign. Following the battles of Kohima and Impal in mid-1944, the tide was turning against the Imperial Japanese Army. By the end of that fateful year, the Allies, were preparing to launch an offensive on the Arakan region of Burma to deliver a knockout blow to the increasingly desperate Japanese 28th Army. Incredible. Okay. Well, I know some details of that campaign, and it was that picture does not do justice to the horror of the terrain. But this book probably will. Let's talk about who is this author. Oh, you're kidding me. So not only do you write a book about World War II, but you're beautiful. What is this world coming to? I swear. Let's find out about you. Military historian, broadcaster, and PhD candidate at the Defense Studies Department of King's College London, specializing in the First and Second World Wars. Built a successful career as a public historian, appearing as a historical expert and presenter on major networks. She holds an MA in military history from the University of Wolverhampton, which is a great school. Okay, so she's got an enormous amount of qualifications. She's writing about a fascinating subject, and she's a woman. So if this book ends up being good, who knows how many pieces Steve's worldview is going to be in. Anyway, okay, and then this next one is also from Osprey, and this is Anthony Tucker. I should interview her. Lucy Betteridge Dyson. I should interview her. What fun that would be. What story she might have. Oh my God, about the ingrained sexism of the field. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? How much you want to make a bet that at Wolverhampton or somewhere in her PhD program so far, she's had at least one guy over the age of 70 tell her that maybe she ought to concentrate on the ladies back home in England. Maybe you want to write history about World War II, fine. How are the ladies doing at home? Write a book about butter rationing. when she wants to write about jungle warfare. How much do you want to make a bet she's encountered a man like that? At least one. Anyway, let's go on to this next one. This is October 7th. Oh my. All right, Dave's going to have a lot of stuff on his plate. This is by Anthony Tucker Jones, so we have hyphenated names all over the place here. And this is called Rhineland, Hitler's Last Defense, 1944 to 1945. A dramatic retelling of the desperate Battle of the Rhineland during World War II from the German perspective. The Rhineland is where Adolf Hitler sowed the seeds for the Second World War when he remilitarized it in a breach of the Treaty of Versailles in 1936. And by late 1944, the Rhine provided the last major obstacle to the advancing armies that were threatening the fatherland. I should stress here, the advancing Allied armies in the West. In this new history of this vital campaign, respected military historian Anthony Tucker Jones describes the race against time as the Germans fought to stave off the inevitable. Okay, so who are you when you're at home? Former intelligence officer, highly prolific writer and military historian with well over 50 books. His work has been published in an array of magazines and online, and he regularly appears on television and radio. Okay. And he very much looks the part. When are you British TV and radio stations, especially TV, when are you going to give Joe Spivey a call for a 2-minute book section at the end of your show? When are you going to do that? Get him into hair and makeup, get some number 2 pancake on his face, have somebody do his hair up, have him on to talk about books, and chat a little with the 2 co-hosts, and then you broadcast to all the BBC license holders out there and all the ships at sea. And what happens in the next 24 hours? Your office gets bombarded with letters and emails from teenage girls. And you make sure you have Joe Spivey on your channel every week for that 2-minute book section. It'll happen someday. Anyway, what else? Oh, right, Penguin. We can finish up with Penguin. I don't know if I showed you the advanced copies. There really wasn't much to show you. Penguin has a new thing, the Penguin Speculative Fiction Special. I don't know how big this line is. I'm not sure. These aren't the first 3 things in it. Speculative fiction, so not necessarily science fiction, not necessarily fantasy, and in this case, not necessarily horror. Which the mind boggles with what you could put in a lineup like that. But these are lovely. These are even prettier than I thought they would be. They did 3... their first 3 books here are all vampire classics. They did Jewel Gomez's book, The Gilda Stories. And this is what the front cover looks like, with the dress is flowing blood. There's what the back cover looks like. And you've also got decorated end papers as well for the Gilda Stories, which have... this actually tells us. The Penguin Speculative Fiction Special is part of a hardcover series of horror, science fiction, and fantasy, featuring custom end papers, specially commissioned cover art, and introductions by scholars and notable figures. So all we need to know now is what's going to be in this series. That's fantastic. So if they're breaking it out for Halloween, for spooky season, for October, with these vampire things, then what will they do next? But the Gilda Story started in the 1990s, I believe. Yeah, 1991. The stories take place in 19th century Louisiana. So you have the Gilda Stories. Then you have a creature double feature here. You have The Vampire by John Polidori and Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, in what has to be the prettiest volume they've ever had. There's Carmilla on the cover, and there's the vampire on the back, looking a lot like Lord Byron. And you have the 2 of them in this volume. Incredible. And then finally, Dracula. So I now have 50 different editions of Dracula here at Hyde Cottage. Maybe 40, maybe 50, something like that. And here's the latest one. Certainly not the ugliest one. This is their Dracula. Look at that cover. Good Lord. We have this ominous shadow. And it bends its way out like that. So I think... I don't spot anything immediately supernatural about the back, so it may just be that this is one big painting interrupted by the red spine. These are going to be in hardcover with no dust jackets, and the end papers here are incredible. There is one, the window of Lucy's room, and here's the one on the back. How incredible. And this is just, there are no illustrations on the inside of these things. This is just a beautiful hardcover copy of Dracula. And two other signature things, Carmilla and The Vampire by John Polidori, and then the Gilda stories, which is an interesting choice. I think I know why this is in this lineup, and it is interesting that it's being reprinted. I think obviously the third here should be Varney the Vampire, some abridgment of Varney the Vampire, but these will do as a trio to start this thing off. So we have blood red naked hardcovers for the beginning of the Penguin Speculative Fiction Special. And these are all themed and keyed for October, but who knows what else will be in this lineup. I can't wait. So there you go. There's just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of new arrivals that I just picked from the shelf. So I'm going to organize these. Sorry for the bombardment of videos today, but I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you.